put the agencies of change from God into effect will depend on a few things. And it's lifted up here in the text. He says, blessed are those who trust in the Lord. You've got to put your trust in a God that's got all power in his hand. I wonder if I got anybody in here that know that God has all power in his hand. He didn't just wake you up this morning. He created the morning. He didn't just start you on your way. He pushed you on down the road. Some of you know that he didn't just start you on your way and walked off. God has been with you all the day long. As our mothers and our forefathers used to say, he woke me up and I was yet clothed and in my right mind. He gave me a reasonable portion of health and strength. And how many of you know that you got in the car, but God got in there with you? Otherwise, how can you explain that you can drive down? Oh, Lord, have mercy. The dangerous highways and byways in this old city with all of the driving habits that there are. And you could arrive to your destination safe and on time. We've got to trust God unconditionally. You see, we don't have the strength to change in and of ourselves. But God has all the strength and power we need to change. And I want to say to you that don't worry about trying to gather all the credentials to yourself. God's got the credentials if you would give yourself a willing heart. If all you would say is, Lord, here am I. How many of you in here know that God can do the rest? If you can put your trust in God. Trust in God with all thine heart and lean not to thine own understanding and acknowledge him in all thy ways. And what will he do? He will direct thy path. Even when you don't know the way, God has already figured it out. Even when your way gets hard and you don't think that you're going to be able to make it. How many of you know that God has already worked it out on your behalf? God is working it out even right now. Verse 9, Jeremiah acknowledges the root problem concerning trust when he says the heart is deceitful above all things and is beyond cure. In our lives, my brothers and sisters, we must understand that we have some challenges in this old life. Earth, Wind, and Fire spoke about this in one of their songs. They said a child is born with a heart of gold, but the ways of the world will turn their hearts so cold. All of us in here today have been impacted by this world in which we live. You see other folks calling on us to give up our rights for their wrongs. We see how deceitful and double-handed people can be, and we wonder how in the world can we survive in a world that will treat you so wrong. God says, can you trust in me? Can you trust in the essentiality of my presence in your life and your need for me in the world that we live in today? My brothers and sisters, we've got to understand that in God's economy, you can't make it without trust. How many of you know that when your back is up against the wall, you've got to trust in God? When your money is short and you don't know where your help is coming from, you had to trust in God. How many of you know that when you were trying to make your way and you didn't know how you were going to make it, the only way you made it was you had to put your trust in God. Amen. You know what I'm talking about. When you get your children up in their young years and you have to send them out to school and you don't know how they're going to make it back, all you had to do was trust that God had them in the palm of his hand. Notice Jeremiah tells us, blessed is the man or the woman who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. We don't need to worry. And we certainly don't need to fret. Somebody once said, if you're going to pray, don't worry. And if you're going to worry, don't pray. Don't pray. God is able to handle all of your concerns if you bring them to him. For the Bible says, cast all of your cares unto God, for you know that he careth for you.
That's right.
What does it really mean to cast all of your cares? It means just to wake up in the day and know that God really has your best concern at heart.
That's right.
That God is keeping you in the midst of it all. St. Augustine put it this way. He says, God is more anxious to bestow his blessings on us than we are to receive his blessings. I think I need to say that again.
Amen.
He said that God is more anxious to bestow his blessings on us than we are to receive his blessings. Because God knows that we don't know all that we need to understand in order to handle his blessings in the right way. Can I get a witness in here? How many of you in here can testify that there were some things that you asked God for, God went on and gave them to you anyhow, and you blew it. You messed it up. In your immaturity, you mishandled it, and you asked God to give you another chance. And God let you sit there in the midst of your anxiety. And while you learned in his classroom, and you were wondering if God was going to give you another chance, and right at the moment you were getting ready to give up, there God came and God gave you another opportunity. Can you get glad about the fact that we serve a God of second chance? We must believe that God can. God can lead us through any circumstance. God has the grace to take you to it. God sure can bring you through. We've got to love people even when they are unlovable. Lord have mercy. You see, I look at it this way, because I struggle with this myself. With all that we know about folk, you have to ask yourself, why is God giving you the insight in the first place?
All right.
Why would God let you marry a woman? Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, a man. And let you see what the whole world can't see. If it were not for you to be forgiving, kind, loving, and understand that ain't nobody got it all. Why would God allow you to have the grace of easing up alongside of someone for them to be able to relax enough for you to be able to see where they don't have it together? Well, they slip up every now and again and let that other person out of the closet. Say some things that they would not be proud of. Why would God allow us the privilege of being able to witness such things if it were not for us to be patient with them? To see how we might be able to lend a helping hand. We must believe that God has so graced us so that we may trust God unconditionally in those moments, to look beyond their fault and minister to their need. And realize that but for the grace of God, there go I. And then realize that just like we have to look over some of their faults.
Come on.
Lord have mercy. We got faults too. Oh, I wish I had some help in here. We got some places where we have some unfinished business. And somebody has to be patient with us too. And the only way we can deal with all of this foolishness that exists in our culture is we've got to trust God unconditionally. That God, by his grace, will lead us and guide us on how we must conduct ourselves with one another so that we may remain unified and in the spirit and the bond of love. All there is of God. And it is available to humanity who is available to all there is of God. Oh, let me say that again. All there is of God is available to the one who is available to all there is of God.
Amen.
One for the Father, and one for the Son. Here it is on the Holy Ghost. All there is of God is available to the one who is available to all there is of God. So many times in our lives we want so much from God, but yet we don't want to be available to God. We want the promotion, but we won't want God to grow us. We want the gift, but we don't want to be responsible with what we already have. We want the increase, but yet we won't discipline ourselves to manage through what we already have. Oh, I wish I had some help. We want friends, but we won't listen when God is leading and guiding us to take risk and be more friendly. Oh, I wish I had some help. Listen, Metropolitan, I don't know about Phillips Temple. We want more members, but we won't get uncomfortable with some of our norms and our mores that keep people away from us. Oh, I wish I had some help. We want God to show up on Sunday morning, but when the Spirit starts moving, we get a stronger grip on ourselves and hold ourselves down. Try to say it don't take all that. But really, the church you want to see, you need to be. The church you want to see, we need to be. You want more praise for church? Stop sitting there with your mouth closed. Trust God unconditionally. And know that God will work it out all right. And then not only do we need to trust God unconditionally, we need to grow uninhibited. Richard Foster said, superficiality is the curse of our age. Doctrine of instant satisfaction is a primary spiritual problem. We like to stand on the surface of things, because when we start going deep, when we get beneath the surface, that's God's territory. It's when you can't fool nobody, can't shuck and jive, can't lie your way out of it, tears start flowing, truth start coming out. Got to answer a few questions. And with each question that gets answered, a bit more is being revealed. You see, the desperate need of today is not for a greater number of intelligent people or gifted people, but what we need are more deep people. Not so deep that you're always trying to impress folk with what you know or what you've read. But we need people who are willing to go deeper beneath the surface of what's going on. So many times in families, the reason we can't solve problems is we're not really willing to look at the problem, diagnose the problem. We're so comfortable with just pointing fingers, telling folk you the problem. If you get yourself right, we'll be all right. Well, what's wrong with me? I don't know what's wrong with you, but you the problem. Well, how am I getting on your nerve? I don't know. Well, it's not that you don't know, you just don't want to say. And if you say, then you got to be willing to listen to them tell you about how you get on. But see, when we start understanding that how I made it over, our forefathers and our foremothers didn't make it over by always sidestepping one another. One of the things that our forefathers and our foremothers used to have that we don't have, they would let their yea be their yea and their nay be their nay. And if you didn't want to know the truth, don't ask him.
All right.
Jeremiah describes for us the picture of a healthy Christian. A healthy Christian who is changing in their walk with God. And if we're going to really grow uninhibitedly, we've got to allow God to show us the truth of who we really are.
All right.
When God shows us, we've got to trust the image that's in the mirror.
All right.
Even if we don't like it, we got to understand that with God, every day gets sweeter as the days go by. Everybody talk about when I get to heaven, I'm going to sing and I'm going to shout. My troubles over. But did you know when you get to heaven, your first day going to be your worst day?
All right.
I wish I had some.